Let us understand the difference between cost, price and value. Cost is the amount a seller spends to produce a product or service, price is the amount a buyer pays to acquire it, and value is the perceived benefit a buyer gets from the product or service. Essentially, cost is what the seller invests, price is what the buyer pays, and value is what the buyer receives in return. Cost can be defined as the total expense incurred by a seller in producing and offering a product or service. Example, the cost of manufacturing a chair would include the price of wood, labor, and the cost of running the factory. Price can be defined as the amount of money a buyer pays to acquire a product or service. Example, the price of the chair might be Rs 1,000. Value can be defined as the perceived benefit, usefulness, or satisfaction a buyer derives from a product or service. Example, a buyer might perceive the chair as valuable if it's comfortable and useful, even if other chairs are cheaper. Value classification involves categorizing values based on various criteria, such as their nature, source, or impact. An important term used in valuation is market value. Market value is the price an asset would fetch in the market, based on the price that buyers are willing to pay and sellers are willing to accept. Market value assumes that both parties are not under duress or forced to participate in the transaction. Both the buyer and seller have access to relevant information about the asset and the market. The sale isn't rushed, allowing for proper negotiation and consideration. The asset has been adequately presented to potential buyers. The transaction occurs in an open market where supply and demand influence the price. Market value is not static and can change based on various factors, including market conditions and investor sentiment. While subjective opinions can influence the perceived value, market value aims to represent an objective assessment of worth based on market data and analysis. Market value is the theoretical price in fair market conditions, while market price is the actual price at which a transaction occurs. Market value is crucial for investors as it helps them assess the fair value of assets and make informed decisions. Market value is used in various contexts, such as property valuation, business valuation, and determining the price of securities. Assessed value is the value assigned to a property by a government entity for tax purposes, typically lower than market value. Book value is the value of an asset as recorded in a company's accounting records, calculated by subtracting accumulated depreciation from the original cost. Salvage value is the estimated value of an asset at the end of its useful life without dismantling, typically determined by deducting depreciation from its original cost. Scrap value is the value of an asset's materials after it has been dismantled at the end of its useful life, often considered a percentage of the original cost. Replacement value is the cost to replace an existing asset with a new one of similar utility. Earning value is present value of a property which will start yielding an income in future. The land has got an inherent value which may go on increasing due to passage of time or due to some alternative use fetching more returns. This inherent value is known as potential value. Distress value is the price a property is likely to fetch when sold under pressure, such as during financial hardship or market downturns. Speculative value is the potential value of a property based on anticipated future price increase, often driven by market trends or speculation. Monopoly value is the value derived from the unique advantages or control a property has due to its location, size, or other factors, potentially commanding a premium price. Sentiment value is the perceived value of a property based on emotional attachment or public opinion, which can influence its market price. The land on the outskirts of a town used for the purpose of playgrounds, gardens etc. is known as accommodation land. It has a value greater than that of agricultural land and less than that of a building land. a small strip of land that cannot be developed independently due to restricted length, depth or area does not find prudent purchasers in the market. Either the adjoining owner or someone else purchases this land and the intention is to exploit the situation. The price offered for such land is known as accommodation value. What is immovable property? Immovable property, also known as real property or real estate, refers to assets that are fixed in location and cannot be moved without causing significant damage or alteration. This typically includes land, buildings, and anything permanently attached to the land. What is tenure? In the context of property ownership, tenure refers to the way in which land or property is held. The two main types of tenure are freehold and leasehold. Freehold means owning both the land and the building outright, while leasehold means owning the property for a fixed period, with the land still belonging to the freeholder. Freehold means full ownership of the property and the land it sits on, with no time limit. There is full control over the property, including the ability to sell, modify, or pass it on to heirs without restrictions. It is generally more expensive than leasehold due to the comprehensive ownership rights. It is easier to sell and often appreciates in value more quickly. Leasehold means owning the property for a fixed period, with the land remaining under the ownership of the freeholder or landlord. Ownership rights are limited to the duration of the lease, with restrictions on what can be done to the property. It is typically more affordable than freehold, especially for flats. Lease terms can vary but often range from 30 to 999 years. When the lease expires, ownership typically reverts to the freeholder unless the lease is renewed. Leaseholders may need to pay ground rent, service charges, and potentially costs for lease extensions. Difference between freehold and leasehold tenure can be summarized as shown on the screen. Here are some of the common terms used in a leasehold tenure. A lease is a contract that outlines the terms and conditions of the agreement between the lessor and lessee, including the asset being leased, the duration of the lease, the payment schedule, and any other relevant stipulations. The lessor is the proper asset owner who enters into a lease agreement with a lessee. They retain ownership of the asset but transfer the right to use it to the lessee for a defined period. In return, the lessor receives payments, rent, from the lessee. The lessee is the individual or entity that obtains the right to use an asset, the lessor. They make regular payments, rent, to the lessor for the use of the asset. Reversion is the right of the lessor to receive back the property once the tenure of the lease expires. Sublease is an agreement that allows a tenant to rent out their leased property to a third party, while maintaining their obligations to the original landlord. Let's now go through the terms related to the rent of a property. Ground rent is a payment made for the use of land, often in long-term leases where the tenant owns the building on the land. Head rent is the primary rent paid to the original landowner or superior landlord, especially in situations involving subleases. Improved rent refers to the rent charged on a property after improvements or renovations have been made, reflecting the increased value. Rack rent is the rent that a property would command in the open market, based on its current condition and location, essentially the full market rental value. Profit rent, in a sublease situation, is the difference between the rent received by the sublandlord, the original tenant, and the rent they pay to the superior landlord. Virtual rent is a hypothetical rental value, often used in financial modeling or when determining a fair market price for a property, even if it's not currently being rented out. To understand the different types of rent, let's go through some examples. Example of ground rent is: a landowner leases land for 99 years to a developer for a ground rent of 10 lakhs rupees per year. The developer builds a building on it. If a tenant leases a building for 50 lakhs rupees per year and then sublets part of it for 20 lakhs rupees per year, the head rent is 50 lakhs rupees. Consider a case where a vacant property is worth 1 crore rupees. After 50 lakhs rupees in renovations, the improved property might be worth 1 crore 80 lakhs rupees. If rented for 1,50,000 rupees per month, the improved rent is 18 lakhs rupees annually. If a property has a market value of 1 crore rupees, the highest rent the market will bear might be 1,20,000 rupees per month or 14,40,000 rupees annually. This is rack rent. If a tenant pays 20 lakhs rupees in head rent and receives 30 lakhs rupees in sublease income, the difference is the profit rent, which is 10 lakhs rupees. A property owner lives in their own property. The virtual rent is the hypothetical rent they could receive if they were renting out, say, 1,20,000 rupees per month or 14,40,000 rupees annually. After understanding the basic terms, let us now learn valuation. What is property valuation? Property valuation is the technique of estimating and determining the fair price or value of a property such as a building, a factory or other engineering structures of various types, including the land over which it is located. A valuer or surveyor with a professional degree from the Institution of Valuers can carry out the valuation of a property in India. They must get a license from the state body before starting the same. In India, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India grants and oversees the qualifications for registered valuers, including those who value property. To become a registered valuer, individuals need to undergo training, gain experience, and obtain a valid certificate of practice. Commonly, valuers produce property valuation as a report, with proper plans and photographs, citing facts as follows. Location, number of rooms, measurements and site boundaries, condition of the property, structural defects, landscaping, associated risks and benefits, etc. Furthermore, valuers are also appointed to evaluate property value with development potential. Factors that affect property valuation are location, size and condition, market trends, amenities, floor space index, nature of soil, accessibility, layout and design, and other factors like safety, security, surroundings, and utilities like safe drinking water. Valuation is done for various purposes like for buying or selling property, for insurance policy, for rent, for taxation, for renovation, for home loan application, for property litigations, for compulsory acquisition. Property valuation in India utilizes several methods to determine market value. The most popular methods are income capitalization technique or rental basis, land and building basis, profit basis, development method or plotting scheme. These methods help determine the value of a property and assist buyers, sellers, and investors in making informed decisions. Let us understand each method. Before learning the various methods of valuation, it is important to understand what is capitalization rate. The capitalization rate, or cap rate, is a financial metric used in real estate to estimate the potential return on investment for a property. A higher cap rate suggests a potentially higher return on investment, but may also indicate a riskier investment, example, in a less desirable location. A lower cap rate suggests a lower potential return, but potentially a more stable and less risky investment, example, in a prime location. Cap rates are primarily used in commercial real estate to compare the profitability of different properties and assess their investment potential. Let us now proceed towards the first method of valuation. The rental method of valuation is also known as the income capitalization or income approach method. This valuation method is used primarily for income-generating properties. It estimates the value of a property based on its potential to produce rental income. The method involves calculating the net rental income and capitalizing it using a suitable capitalization rate or year's purchase. Steps involved in rental method of valuation are: 1. Determine net rental income. 2. Determine year's purchase, YP. 3. Calculate capitalized value. First step is to determine net rental income. To arrive at net rental income, first the gross rental income is calculated. For example, if the rent of a property is 2,500 rupees per month, then the gross annual rental income is 2,500 multiplied by 12, that is 30,000 rupees. Next, all relevant expenses are deducted from the gross income to arrive at the net rental income. Usually expenses or outgoings in urban properties are property tax, repairs, insurance, and common area maintenance charges. Society charges. Society charges include salary of sweeper, pump attendant, liftman, etc. AMC for lift, pump, etc. Electric consumption for lift, pump, etc. Cost of cleaning accessories. Sinking fund, that is fund reserved for future capital expense or repayment of a long-term debt. When all these expenses are deducted from the gross rent, the net rental income is achieved. In order to fully understand the first step of valuation, solve the problem given on the screen. Answer of exercise number 1 is shown on the screen. Let's move to step 2 of rental method of valuation. Step 2 is determine year's purchase. Year's purchase or YP represents the number of years it would take for the property's net income to recover the initial investment, assuming a specific interest rate. The YP is calculated by dividing 100 by the capitalization rate, that is interest rate. For example, if the capitalization rate is 10%, the YP would be 100 divided by 10 equals 10. Last step in rental method of valuation is to calculate capitalized value. Multiply the net rental income calculated in step 1 by the year's purchase calculated in step 2. This gives the capitalized value, which represents the estimated value of the property. The formula is capitalized value is equal to net rent into year's purchase. In essence, the rental method values a property based on its ability to generate income, making it particularly useful for commercial buildings, residential rental properties, and investment properties. Using income capitalization method, estimate the value of the property based on the data provided on the screen. The steps for calculating the value of the property are explained here. Now, prepare valuation using income capitalization method for the property whose data is given on the screen. The steps for calculating the value of the property are explained here. Using income capitalization method, estimate the value of the property based on the data provided on the screen. The steps for calculating the value of the property are explained here. Let us now learn the second method of valuation. The land and building method of valuation, also known as physical method or the breakdown method, is a common approach to determining the value of a property by separately assessing the value of the land and the building and then summing them up. This method is frequently used for residential, industrial, and institutional properties and involves analyzing various factors to arrive at a fair market value. Here's a breakdown of the method. It involves 3 steps. First step is land valuation. Second step is building valuation. And third step is summing up the 2 valuations to get the total property valuation. Land valuation involves determining the current market value of the land itself. Factors considered include location, proximity to amenities, transportation, and other infrastructure increase the value of land. Size and shape. Larger plots and well-shaped plots tend to be more valuable. Zoning regulations. Restrictions on land use can impact its value. Recent sales. Comparing the subject property to recent sales of similar plots in the area is crucial. Building valuation involves assessing the value of the existing structure on the land. Factors considered include construction type and materials. The quality and type of materials used in construction influence the value. Age and condition. Older buildings may require depreciation adjustments. Depreciation accounts for the wear and tear on the building over time. Size and layout. The building's dimensions and internal layout are important considerations. Once the land and building values are determined, they are added together to arrive at the total market value of the property. The key considerations in land and building method of valuation are: depreciation is a significant factor in building valuation. Depreciation accounts for the decrease in value due to age, wear and tear, and obsolescence. Market conditions. The overall real estate market and specific trends in the area can influence property values. Comparable sales. Analyzing recent sales of similar properties is crucial for determining accurate land and building values. In essence, the land and building method provides a systematic way to value a property by breaking it down into its component parts and then combining those values to arrive at a final assessment. Let's take an example. Say, a property includes a piece of land and a building. The valuation process would be as follows. 1. Land valuation can be done based on comparable sales of similar land in the area. For example, if comparable land sales indicate a rate of 5,000 rupee per square meter and the land area is 200 square meters, the land value would be 200 into 5,000 is equal to 10 lakhs rupees. 2. Building valuation can be done using the cost approach, which involves estimating the cost to replace the building with a new one, then deducting depreciation for age and condition. For example, if the estimated cost to replace the building is 20 lakhs rupees and after accounting for depreciation, the building's value is 15 lakhs rupees, then this would be the building's value. 3. Total property value is the sum of the land value and the building value. In the example above, the total property value would be 10 lakhs rupees plus 15 lakhs rupees, which is equal to 25 lakhs rupees. Using land and building method of valuation, work out the fair market value of the flat based on the data given on the screen. The steps for calculating the value of the property are explained here. The third method of valuation is the profits method. It is also known as the income approach method, and it determines a business's value based on its ability to generate future profits. It's commonly used for businesses like hotels, cinemas, and other trade-related properties where the value is directly tied to their profitability. The profits method assumes that a business's value is directly related to its future earnings potential. It focuses on estimating the sustainable profits a business can generate and then capitalizing those profits to determine a present-day value. Key steps in the profits method are: 1. Projecting future profits. This involves analyzing historical financial data, industry trends, and market conditions to forecast future revenue and expenses. 2. Calculating net operating income. NOI represents a property's profitability by subtracting operating expenses from its total revenue. 3. Determining a capitalization rate. This rate reflects the risk and return associated with the business and is used to convert future profits into a present-day value. 4. Calculating year's purchase. Year's purchase is equal to 100 divided by capitalization rate. 5. Capitalizing the NOI. Value is equal to NOI multiplied by year's purchase. Let's say a hotel has an average annual net operating income of 5 crores rupees. A value determines a capitalization rate of 10% for similar hotels in the area, reflecting the risk and return associated with this type of property. Year's purchase would be 100 divided by 10, that is 10. The value of the hotel would be calculated as NOI multiplied by year's purchase. That is 5 crores into 10. The answer is 50 crores rupees. Let us now learn the fourth method of valuation, the development method. It is also known as the residual technique. It is used for properties in early stages of development or those requiring significant renovations. It's an indirect method that estimates land value by considering potential future income from the developed property after accounting for development costs. The development method of valuation involves 3 steps. 1. Estimate future income. Determine the anticipated net income the property will generate after development or renovation. 2. Calculate capitalized value. Multiply the net income by the appropriate year's purchase to arrive at the capitalized value. 3. Account for development costs. Deduct all development or renovation costs from the capitalized value. The remaining value represents the estimated land value or the value of the existing property after deducting the cost of improvements. Development method is used for valuation of undeveloped land. When large areas of land need to be divided into plots with roads and other amenities. Or for renovation projects. When properties require significant renovations, additions, or alterations. Development method is also used for valuation of properties with uncertain income. The key aspects of this method are: it doesn't rely on direct comparisons to similar properties, but rather on projected future income. It involves forecasting potential income and development costs, making it an estimation-based approach. This method can help determine if the investment in a development or renovation project is worthwhile by comparing the anticipated value with the total cost. Let us understand this method through an example. Imagine a large piece of land in a suburban area with no recent comparable sales data available. The land is currently underutilized and could be developed into a residential or commercial project. 1. Estimate the potential market value of land after development. Say, 50 crores rupees. 2. Estimate the total development costs. Construction cost plus land acquisition cost plus infrastructure cost plus other costs like professional fees, permits, marketing, and financing costs. Say, 30 crores rupees. 3. Calculate the residual land value. 50 crores minus 30 crores is equal to 20 crores rupees. This residual land value represents the price a developer would be willing to pay for the land, considering the potential for development and associated costs. In essence, the development method allows valuers to work backward from the potential end value of a developed property to determine the underlying land value, making it useful when direct market comparisons are scarce.